Coach, thanks for joining us here. We're trying to stay safe and do the appropriate things to get rid of this virus, so we can do this face to face on Rogers Field and in Martin Stadium. And I hope you're safe and staying well. And it's really a strange time, isn't it?
Well, we're staying well. Safe is a very general term. As far as the virus is concerned, very safe, but just day in and day out with the different chores that we've all had to take on, anywhere from taking care of our team to installing systems of offense, defense, special teams via a Zoom meeting, Blackboard. I'm learning things that I'm glad I'm learning at the same time, but at the same time, if I never had to learn about them, I would have been okay, because I'm with you. I'm better with face-to-face, in-person, hands-on type of meetings. I think that's always the best way to learn. But, life in general, if you're around long enough, you figure out that things don't always work out exactly the way they're planned, and you're probably better off being more spontaneous than really doing a lot of planning.
Take me back in time a little bit to being the defensive coordinator for so long in the Pac, in the midst of the most successful contemporary stretch, most successful stretch at all, really, of Oregon State football, and all the pros you and Coach Riley put out in the NFL, all the wins you had there from your time in Corvallis, and then moving on to Lincoln in Hawaii, and now coming back into the Pac. What do you take away from all those years as the DC there, and bring now to the spot here as a safeties coach for the Cougs?
Oh God, so many thoughts go into that, and I appreciate saying those things about we had a good run there, but just like anything, no one ever does anything on their own. I think one coach, Jerry Pettibone, had left when we got there in '97 the first time. And then, of course, Mike had been there twice. And then, our own Dennis Erickson, right, was there in between. And, it took three men with a program. When we got there, there were 28 consecutive years of losing. And the first thing we had to change is the culture. Jerry Pettibone, the reason why I mentioned him, there was an end zone facility, much like the one here that we have now, that Bill Moose and company, resurrected in Martin Stadium, was a game changer. He did the same thing, Valley Football Center. So we had the stuff to show these young men and their family, because times were changing when it wasn't just good enough to have good academics and have good people around your young men to be able to coach and play football. And then returning back in 2003, after spending some time with the San Diego Chargers, things had even changed then. We changed the culture. Those first 2 years did it very, very quickly. In fact, the team down to our south, so what would that be? Southwest, I guess they are. That was a big one for us, because the now present head coach at Oregon State, Jonathan Smith, came in the second quarter, never having started a game, true freshman, and ended up throwing for over 400 yards. And we ended up losing on a unsuccessful try at a 2-point play. We lost by one with Brock Hewitt at the quarterback and all that. But all those things started that stuff in motion. Again, the culture changed. Dennis came in, more momentum. The freshmen that we had brought in, they were the ones that, along with other guys, of course, that they added, they were the ones that beat Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl, and really put things on the map. And then we went on we can't say a 12-year run, but I'd say a good solid 9 years within our 12 that we kept escalating the program, playing for the Rose Bowl 2 different times against the Ducks. And some epic battles against SC, took down Cal on the road when they were just announced as the #1 team in the country, and all these different things, go through your mind. But, as you go through this process of being a coach, a teacher, and in this great game of football, I think that word that I used to begin with, it's culture. And I think no matter whether it's here, whether it's at Hawaii, whether it's at Nebraska or back at Oregon State, because there's so many similarities between Oregon State, Washington State, Corvallis, Pullman, all the college towns, small towns. We've got state after the name of our state, so it's the culture, and it's the people that are within the culture that you want to bring in that need to not only change but stay consistent. And you've got to be able to get that message out. You've got to stay your course. As we sit here day after day, virtually recruiting our next class and the following class, establishing relationships with players, parents, coaches. It's the difficult part for us, I think, more than anything, is we need to physically, more than anybody, we need to physically get these people here to show them what we have to offer them and to be able to establish that culture, not just what people hear, about Washington State, but actually see that. So from a standpoint of what could I help and bring through experience would be just to continue to take advantage of what has already been set forth in front of us here at Washington State and the history that the program has, and then obviously what this region and then the university and the people that make up this university have to offer, so that we can establish that culture of not only personality, but also of the way we specifically play the game of football, the way people are going to be treated, the way they're going to be coached, the way they're going to be developed.
With all that experience and context and your role as a longtime Pac defensive coordinator, with all that success, what's your relationship like with Coach Dickert early on here? He's a younger DC coming here from Wyoming with defensive coordinator experience, but you're at USC, you were with the San Diego Chargers in the NFL with Coach Riley, and you were with Nebraska. You come with all this knowledge and all this experience. What's it like now working with all the new additions on the staff as you moved along here in your career? Now here you're with the Cougs.
Yeah, what was interesting was, Coach Rolovich is the one that first gave me that opportunity as an assistant coach. And as you said, I've been a coordinator for 28 years. And one of the biggest things after I left Nebraska was, convincing others that, hang on now. I mean, yeah, you have this experience as a coordinator. When you have an experience in a position of responsibility, I mean, one thing you either know or you don't know. And one thing I do know is that I know what people that are in positions of responsibility want to hear and what they don't want to hear, when they want to hear from you, when they don't want to hear from you. And that was one thing when Coach Rolovich approached me about that going to the University of Hawaii. I said, I'm going to be the best damn assistant that anybody could ever have, because I talk a lot, number one. I'm not afraid to express my opinion when I need to, if you have one, because everybody has one, but that's just it. In a team concept, you have to know when it's time and when it's not time. And I love learning. I did a little bit of an apprenticeship when I was sat out, took my little sabbatical between Nebraska and going to Hawaii. I was studying the 3-4 because I've always been a 4-3 guy, and it was ancient history that I played in a 5-2, and God forbid that you call it a 5-2. It's a 3-4, and it is different. But you can always learn. If you can't learn, then you don't belong in this business, or really in anything where you're trying to teach and help people develop and improve themselves. So I was able to work at Hawaii with a defensive coordinator there that brought in a 3-4, and we were in and out of a 30 and a 40. I got to come back to the linebackers at that time, get out of the secondary, and it was refreshing because talking about having a lot on your plate, you had to teach players different fits just based on different fronts, let alone the fact that once you mixed in the coverages, that changed a lot of different things too. So I mean, it was right there. It was right in the middle of it. I learned every day. I tell the players right now here at Washington State, as we install this defense and the way that we're going to play, I'm learning along with you, and I'm trying to refine the more general points to more specific details, and compartmentalize things so that they can learn better, so that they can play faster come game day. And God bless us, hopefully we tackle better.
Take me back in time a little bit also to some of your battles against the Cougs. There's a game that I know our boy AB Alex Brink doesn't want to remember,
Yeah.
but any others stick out?
Yeah, I don't. I won't say the year. I'll just say that it was a game. I will. I guess it was 2000. It was either 2003, 2004. It was at Washington State. It was here in Pullman, and one of the few I've ever lost against Washington State as a coordinator. But and that's how things are in coaching, right? The thing that sticks in my craw. We had taken the ball away that game 7 times, and still lost. And we had tweaked a couple things as the game was progressing. And God, I should not say this because he's probably going to watch, but there was a slot receiver that I loved. I remember his mom worked for Delta Airline. He came to our camp, went to Hudson's Bay, and he lit it up. He had about 183 yards in catches that day. And then Brandon Browner was our corner over there against the X, and he was having a hard time playing one-on-one. Really got into his head, and he wasn't used to that. But we ended up losing the game, and that one there really bothered me more than anything. The other one actually was prior to that, was at SC, and Ryan Leaf, he might have been a senior, at probably least he was a junior. And I remember John Robertson at halftime telling the offense, if we can't run the ball, we're just not going to win this game, because we're not going to throw the ball again. And it was like, oh my God! I mean, we're not running the ball an inch. Let's throw the ball. But so he made that statement. But I found out later that he had told Mike, because Mike at the time was the offensive coordinator. That's how we got to know each other. He had told me, he says, "Hey Mike, whatever you do, don't listen to what I said. Just make sure we win this game." And the game ended. I could just see Leaf right now. In fact, I'm halfway through his book right now. It's a good book. He's in the pocket, and they're running one of those mirrored switch routes out of 2-and-2, and we've got them pretty well covered up. In fact, I think we banged the 2 guys switching it to one another. Darrell Russell, who's absolutely the biggest beast there is on the field, God bless his soul, he's about 6'5", 300 pounds. He's already hit him, and he's hanging on to him. This other guy, Mark Cusano, comes off one edge, and he's hitting him. Sammy Knight, who had a long career in the NFL, he was a will backer for me there. He finally comes out of coverage, and he jumps and just hangs on to Ryan's throwing arm and won't let go. And finally, they bring this big dog down to the ground, and we win the game. But those more than anything, I remember. Other than, like you said, with AB and I were at the Hula Bowl together after his senior year, and we sat on the bus going to practice one day, and he asked me if I hated him. And I said, what are you talking about? What do you mean, do I hate you? And he said, yeah. He said, every time you played against me, you had all these different coverages, and then you just brought like 8 guys all the time. I said, that wasn't hate. That was just out of respect.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it, Coach. Hey, thank you for this time. I can't wait to do more walks down memory lane and do it in person, and do it at Rogers Field and Martin Stadium when we get healthy and right and well, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, you got it, Matt. I appreciate that. Hey, I look forward to the future and us winning some games here, and again establishing that culture, so we could be consistent and get back to that Rose Bowl.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Go
Thanks,
Cougs.
Matt.